Alright, I'm back with more Final Fantasy VIII. If you go past East Academy into this region, you will reach to the Dalit City, which is where we went to the seat exam. You can get a card there from a guy known as Siren, which is good, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to go in said forest over there. Gizzards, huh? Not too impressed. Ow! So I've got Quistis in place of Renoa, because that's a story thing in a minute. We'll do that next episode, but right now, just going to spend a little time getting some items and things. Got Move Find. So what Move Find does is it will find hidden things on certain parts of the map. Not the map, but overworld map. So while you're walking around and doing stuff, you might find save points, you might find draw points, just other fun, cool stuff. It's a nifty trick. I think I know where everything is, but anyway, this is the hardest place you can fight for right now. You're mostly going to fight Funguars, but every so often you're going to fight Anacondors and Wendigos. Those are the things I really want to fight. So I'm just going to spend some time fighting in here. So I'll help my characters a little bit, get me some stuff that I need. Because who doesn't want stuff? Ah, here we go. And here we go. This was the enemy I needed to fight, so let's do it. Now, be careful, this guy can do some damage. So, probably not gonna fight all that long. But I can also do this off screen if I need to. My whole point here is that you're going to want to fight these Wendigos. You will get them, you'll get some steel pipes and steel orbs. Now, the steel orbs will do gravity damage. The steel pipes are the thing you really want. And if I have to do this later, I will, but... Ah, bear hugs. Yes, watch out for those Wendigos. They do some damage. So, let the extra health bars help you. Especially if you level up, they do a lot more damage. So they are not to be trifled with. I'm trying to think what I want to talk about today. Ah, here we go. Do I hate Final Fantasy? People who know me on streaming or listen to my podcast or whatever know that I talk ill sometimes of Final Fantasy VIII, and I don't think that's the case all that much. I don't like it as much as, say, Final Fantasy VI or 10 or 9, you know. If I was to rank it, I would put it in the top of the middle half. You know, so mid-level, but I still enjoy it. But there's this prevailing theory that because I hate a certain thing about it, that I hate it in general. If I hated something, I would absolutely 100% hate it. And I don't think that's the case. I think what gets misconstrued when I'm talking to people is that I don't understand something about the game, or it's not grabbing me in a certain... No, I've played this game enough. I know what I like about it and what I don't like about it. What I do like is the versatility of the characters. To a point. As you notice, if you want to just use your summons to do all the damage for you, you can do that. If you want to do what my method is and just do all the damage physically and just never use magic ever again, you could do that. If you want to use magic, it'd be a risk to use magic, but you can do that. But because of the way the game is designed, it basically precludes you from ever using magic, which is why you just never use magic, which is kind of sad, because it's weird design-wise, and I want to like the game, I really do. But much like Final Fantasy II, there are just things about it that are really stupid and weird. Let's get rid of... Yeah, okay. So, basically what card mod is essentially what it looks like. You get certain cards, sometimes you have to get multiples of certain cards, but if you do that, you will be able to get... You will get items or ability things and all manner of cool things. One of the cool things is actually giving Quistis some nasty blue magic, including this one. If anybody wants to know why I use Quistis primarily, in most cases, it's Degenerator. Because outside of 1 to 2 enemies or bosses, what she does is insta-kills anything it uses it on. So yeah, it's very useful. But you can also get summon skills, you get other cool stuff that you need to mod for. But again, the weird thing about Final Fantasy VI, 7, and 8, which I don't think I like personally, is the fact that everybody's the same. 5 gets away with it because you have the job system, so you can make a job the way you want and do the thing you want to do. 6, really anybody can do anything, and the versatility comes in, well, somebody learns magic or somebody uses a tech, and we've seen how some of the techs don't exactly work great, unfortunately. Runic, for example, is very situational, doesn't really work great, and it's very frustrating. So that's always a bugbear of mine, is when every character is the same, they're not special. And that's why I like something like Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy IX, where they're locked in. They're absolutely locked into a certain character. Because if you're locked into a certain character, you know what their usefulness is. You know what a white mage's usefulness is. You know what a black mage does. You know what a thief does. The class system. And far be it for me, the only class you ever technically need without struggling too much is a white mage. But if you're really careful, you can get through any game without it. But still. The problem with 6, 7, and 8 is that in the battles you have the major issue of if everybody's the same, then you can build them the same way. I think Final Fantasy 7 and 8 get it a lot worse, personally, because you can put any materia anywhere, anyone, on any time, anywhere. So if you want to mix and match everything, do it. You want to do classes, you can do that. Nobody's different, outside of some stats. Very similar to this, but done in a different way. So the limit breaks are all that really differentiate the character. So it's really a matter of, do you like this character and their vibe and their weapon and whatever? Are they pretty cool to look at? You know, the battle stances and sequences. It really, there's not much there. Final Fantasy VIII's problem is they took that micromanagement to a crazy degree. As I said, if you wanted to be a magic user, well, you can't really be a magic user unless you use Selphie's Limit Break. Because if you have something junctioned, if you use a magic, say if I use Quake or Ultima or something, whatever stat that it's keyed to goes down, so I have to draw it again. I have to physically draw it from characters, or I have to modify it, or I have to do... They give you all of these little tools. And it's cool that they give you all these little tools and they let you decide what you want to do, but at the same time, you end up in a situation where all those little tools end up giving you too much to think about. I remember watching a streamer who did not know the intricacies of the junction system and, you know, just piling damage and HP on characters and letting them do physical damage. You know, they focused on summons, and it got them through the game just fine. So if you want to do this, what I'm doing right now, and summon the fuck out of them and just pump their damage, you can do that. There is no optimal way of winning the game, I don't think. There are min and maxing and whatever, but really if you're a speedrunner or something like that, sure. If you're just playing a game willy-nilly 5 or 6 times, it's whatever, right? It's not the biggest deal in the world, and who cares? It's just personal preference, and it's personal choice. I think having the ability to choose is nice, but it comes at a drawback. So it's always something to bear in mind that you can never quite know what a character's gonna be able to do, what they have to do. Other little mechanics, like not having equipment, is weird. Like, nobody has stat equipment. It's all born through the GF. They can put so much into the GF system that they took away a lot of the flavor of, hey, there's a new item. What does it do? There's a new thing I could do with this skill that I couldn't do before. Final Fantasy IX was great with, hey, keep all your items because you need the skills that are imbued with them. Final Fantasy VII always gave you new items in every new town. This is, can you mod the weapon? And at the end of the day, outside of Squall, nobody's weapon really changes anything outside of attack and hit percentage. So really, outside of getting Squall's best weapon, there's nothing that you really need to remodel, so it's kind of... A lot of the fun is in tinkering with the battle system, but if you know how to tinker with it, then what is it? The battles are fast, it's fun, it's engaging, and I don't hate the story. I think it tries to do a little way too much, I think. As we've been seeing, it's got this whole war aesthetic. It's got these teenagers caught in a war against this, what is a sorceress, right? And I'm not going to give away everything about Squall and Renoa, but suffice it to say, I'm not really into their whole combative relationship. Because I just don't feel it. I'm not into Squall's development, because does he want them? No. Does he need them? No. But you can already kind of see that the game is kind of wanting you to care. Little things like Renoa standing there and waiting and telling him that you're so mean, it's so dumb. It's like it's like those shows with the characters that don't get along. And then there's another person right next to you that seem to fit better and aren't as combative. How do I explain this? I'm watching Full Metal Panic. They make a big deal in that show about these school kids getting together, but one of them's a super fucking soldier, think Squall, but more inclined to talk about absolute dog shit. and military stuff. And then this super pretty, super crazy girl. Okay, let's just say that. That super crazy girl likes him, but she's also annoyed by him, and they can't stand being around him. And sound familiar? Well, a third girl who works in the same field that he does has feelings for him, but isn't as combative about it, and actually kind of likes him, and they kind of interact better. They develop feelings. Now, Quistis and Squall didn't, which I'm disappointed they did. If this were Final Fantasy VII, you could have done this in the back burner like the Tifa thing and slowly built that back up. I'm not saying that Quistis should have been the main female lead, but let's suffice to say. Let's hypothetically just say Quistis wasn't successful the first time, but she didn't stop. But it was that whole, I still have feelings for you, let's build that relationship in the back burner while Renoa takes all the fucking screen time. But it's still there. Then you have a mental choice, and you're telling the characters, oh, I have a choice. I can root for this combative relationship with this person who's kind of bitchy, but, you know, is nice and nice looking and, you know, does like the guy. But there's no indication that he likes her enough that they can get past being weird about it. Versus, okay, this other girl kind of likes him, and they already kind of deal with everything, but she's not, like, in your face about it. My whole thing is I'm not into the characters that are so in your face and combative. Everybody's different. I mean, if you like the Renoa thing, great. If you're into the characters and the romances where they fight all the time and they slowly realize their love for each other and that's great. But there's also something to be said for the subtle hits, where the romance is budding and you start having that little, well, maybe there's something there. Let's go with that. And there's also main girl syndrome. Let's face that. The idea that you know that the main girl almost always gets picked, it's just boring and dumb, right? So, whether it's Full Metal Panic, it's just some random anime from the early 2000s, Final Fantasy VIII, a blockbuster game from the late 90s, Persona, which basically just gives you 50 million options and says, take your pick. We don't have a canon option. Just do what you want to do. Persona avoids the option and avoids the issue of, well, I don't like this person. I don't give a shit. I don't want them to be the main lead, you know? So that you don't have the Squall Renoa thing. You don't have the Tidus Yuna thing. You don't have the Celeste Locke thing. You have your choice. So everybody can decide if that's their thing. Everybody can respond to Squall and Renoa differently. Me personally, I just don't find them very likable. Squall's too into his own head, despite the fact that he's not very complex at all. He thinks he is. Even to the point where he tells Quistis he's complex, and not really. No, he's just an introverted fuckwad who doesn't want to actually take responsibility for things unless he can be asked. And as we've seen, most of the time he's forcefully pushed by other people. He is not in control of his destiny, which is annoying. Maybe that's because I'm 35 years old. You should have your own personal... You should be the hero. Or at least have enough idealism and substance to say, alright, now I have to take advantage and get what I want. Is that his story arc? Maybe. But the fact that you're going to spend forever looking at Squall to find his character arc, if that's what they were going for, they spent a long fucking time getting there. And they spend a long fucking time beating you over the head that the entire party wants you to do the same. So the party enables him to finally get over himself. Or at least wants him to. But is that what the player wants? Personally, I want the character themselves to have the motivation themselves to do the thing themselves, rather than follow orders because that's my job and that's what I'm doing, so whatever. And again, Renella is just what I classify her as a damsel in distress more by circumstance. She's a lot like Aerith and Tifa mixed together, where she has like the outward resiliency and charisma of like Aerith does, but she doesn't have like the slyness, the slightly flirtiness, the happy-go-lucky like demurity. She is just in your face and combative, like that girl I mentioned in the anime. I'm like, I don't like those kinds of people. They're bitches. Why the fuck would I want to be around somebody like that? Just because they're pretty? No. So again, I think it's me personally not liking them, and the fact that the game is trying to fit a round square peg into a round hole. And I got a steel pipe. But again, I'm not giving things away plot-wise, but for people who have played this before, you know, Final Fantasy VIII is divisive. I'm not gonna lie. It is very divisive. It just is. If you're all up into this game and what it gives you and everything about it, that's great. But it does have issues. It just does. You know, do I want to like it? Yes. Of course I do. I think anybody should like any game they ever play doing anything they want. But the things the game foists on you are not what I want out of said game. So it gets a little sometimes. Anyway, I'm just looking at, this is what modifications will do for you. This is why I spent a lot of time doing this. And I'm not going to do these on screen right now, but you can see where a lot of these things are very useful. I'm going to save a lot of them for... Yeah, I'm going to save a lot of these items for other things, like refining weapons, but you can see where fighting those guys was useful. But again, I did want to kind of get that stuff off my chest a little bit, because I think people misunderstand where I'm coming from and saying that I hate this game, or I think it's boring, or I think it doesn't work as a game. It wants to work. Oh my god, does it want to work. If nothing else, Final Fantasy VIII has energy to spare. This was back when Final Fantasy felt like Final Fantasy, for better or for worse. The risks that they took in both the plot and the characters and the game style, I can still respect, even if sometimes I'm frustrated by it. So I still come back and play this, and honestly, I like it the more times I replay it, despite some of the issues that I have. If you wanted me to hate on a game, I would hate on Final Fantasy XII and XIII, because I find them boring as dirt. I don't hate games. I hate things about games. This game doesn't do enough that I don't like that I would hate it completely outright. It's just that, like Kingdom Hearts, the things that I don't like are so in my face that I can't not say it. But I can save that for another episode. But again, I just wanted to clear the air because, again, this always comes up as one of those things that, oh my god, I completely hate it. I'm like, no, I still like it. I just don't love it. Or the things that I love about it are balanced out by stupid shit that I don't like. But that's everybody else's personal call. But that'll do it for me today. Next time, we'll go back to our actual storyline and actually keep going with characters we do like. Hint, hint, not these people. Hint, hint, the other dudes from the other thing, in the other world thing. Yay! So let's enjoy that next time.